Hi there folks, welcome to Dunzy's Guitar World. Welcome to another outrageously exciting video. Make sure you're sitting down. So today's video is about a very nice Telecaster. A very nice Telecaster which I had no intention of buying. I didn't even know it was available. It is indeed this very nice blue flower Telecaster. So in the video I will tell you a little bit about the guitar, this particular guitar, a little bit about the history of the blue flower Telecaster, and I will tell you how I ended up with this because it was almost by accident. Now, a blue flower Telecaster, people are probably thinking that will be really good for country sounds, and I'm sure it is really good for country sounds, but I am not a country guitar player, and this guitar can rock. It does rock very hard. So this particular model here is a Fender Japan model from, I believe, 2014. So this was in Guitar when I popped in the other day there. More about that later. So the history of the blue flower Telecaster. First available, I believe, 1968 and definitely 1969. There was a pink paisley Telecaster and the blue flower Telecaster. Now I think they were made differently. I believe the pink paisley is almost like a patterned wallpaper or a patterned material underneath the finish. These were different. There's a video which I will link to below. Ask Zach, who's a fantastic Telecaster player. He probably plays this in a very country style and he's very good at it. I'll put a link to that video. He tells you a bit more about the finish on that. So these were only made for a couple of years at the end of the 60s, and to find one of these in good original condition, I think you're talking $30,000 anyway or something like that. I think the blue ones were a lot rarer. So yes, I wasn't going to get a new one. So over the years, Fender Japan have been re-releasing these, the pink paisley and the blue flower, and other companies as well. I've seen them made by Tokai. I had a Tokai one which was really nice, but I think it was possibly made in the same factory the Fender was made in, because it was very much a Fender. So every now and again these will come out as a factory special run, and they're still quite rare to get, and they're really good sounding guitars. So there's a lot of lead going on at the end. Oh, I should have said this at the beginning. There's a long whittle at the end, so you know that it's all lead. So in the sound parts of this video right now, I will let you hear some of the chordy tones that you can get out of these two single coil pickups. So let's have a listen to that. very, very nice sounding guitar, as well as a nice looking guitar. So let's look at the construction. Let's see what's underneath this and see what's in the control cavity, and we'll look at the specs of this particular guitar as well. So on to the $1 million question. How has this guitar come into my ownership? Well, this is not based on a true story. This is a true story. So I had been discussing things with Guitar, my local shop, with young Alfie, who's in charge of trading in instruments, and I had agreed to pop in with 3 guitars, which I was just going to get the cash for because I have another few things coming from Japan. So I went in there with 3 guitars, expecting to leave with some cash. And when Alfie was checking over the guitars, I looked round, and in the second hand wall, or on the second hand wall, was a few Telecasters, and that one was there. I didn't even know it was in the shop, so it was a complete surprise to me. And as soon as I saw it, I thought, I'm going to buy that because you do not see these much. And I barely played it. I just took it down. It's super light, as we saw earlier on, super light guitar, comfortable neck shape, and it just played great. I didn't plug it in or anything like that. I just thought, I've got to have it, because that's what G.A.S is like. You know, all us guitar players, if you walk into a shop and you're not planning on buying anything, you know, even if you've not got money, if you've got a credit card in your pocket or something like that, you suddenly see something and you think, I'm just going to get that, because life's too short not to own all the guitars that you want to own. That's how I see it. So there you go, the final part of the video is indeed the jam, the aforementioned jam. It lasts about 6 minutes, so strap yourselves in. I use 3 different amplifiers. I will put on the screen what amplifier it is. They're in my camper. I don't have a room full of amplifiers. As ever, folks, it's a privilege and a pleasure bringing you content on Dunsi's Guitar World. Cheers for now.